Hello again, friends. It's the Cranky Yankee here. Gonna have another follow-up to my previous video about Gritty. So, it happened the way that I expected it to. Police found nothing. Gritty is innocent. Gritty did not do what this person claimed. I'm not gonna say he's a liar, because that's slander and I can get in trouble for that. You can go to jail for that, or court at least. I'm not gonna say he's a liar, but he wasn't truthful. So we'll say it that. He's not a liar. He just didn't tell the truth. It's very simple. Now, parts of that may have been true. Parts of it may not be. Maybe all of it's made up. I don't know. But I think where it stemmed from was that he had complained that he did not get good pictures with Gritty. Or that his son he didn't get good pictures of his son with Gritty. Have you met Gritty? Have you seen the persona and how the actor that plays him is supposed to portray him? He's a nut job. That's how it's supposed to be. You may not get great pictures with him. It's just how it is. But that's not a way to handle the situation. If you're upset with your experience as a fan, then just don't give the money anymore. Don't go to the games. Don't buy the merchandise. There's other ways that you can show your unhappiness other than using your child and exploiting your child for money. That's exactly what it was. He used his child as an excuse, claiming that something happened to his kid, that Gritty had done something to his child, so that he could get money, or free tickets, or something. Get some sort of benefit or reward out of this. And he was untruthful. He was not truthful about what happened. Philadelphia did an investigation. They found out that he wasn't being truthful, and they tried to settle it, and he said, no, it's not. I'm going to take this to the court. I'm going to take this to Philadelphia basically probably said around the bouts of, we have no evidence that he did anything. So we're sorry that you had a bad experience. I'm sure that, honestly, I bet you they did a lot to try to make this right. They're probably like, would you like to have a personal thing with a personal day with Gritty, or would you like to have your own private photo session? Like, I bet you they probably, because if I was the owner of a hockey team and this happened, even if I knew this person was lying through their teeth, and I'm not saying this man was, I'm just saying hypothetically, we're speaking in a hypothetical. If I was the owner of a team, or the manager of the team, or the vice president of a team, or some sort of involvement with a professional sports team, and I had a fan come and claimed that my mascot did something like that, even if I knew after my investigation this person was full of shit and they were just trying to get something free out of it, you know what I would have done? I would have given them some kind of thing anyways, just because even though they are trying to take the piss out of you, trying to make shit up, you still want to make that customer happy, because they're a customer. And I've spent many, many years working in retail. And when I worked at Domino's, it didn't matter. If we had a complaint, if somebody said that something wasn't there right, or it was cold, or they was made improperly, regardless of whether it actually was or not, we'd give them free food. We'd cop them free food all the time. Free lava cakes, drinks, and not a pizza, but small things. Like, I can't count the number of times I gave out free lava cakes to people on the instructions of my boss, saying, you know what, he goes, like, if something happened, I said, oh man, I'm pretty sure that pizza was made right, I don't think there's anything wrong. And my boss said, yeah, it doesn't matter if it was made right or wrong. I said, if they're complaining, he goes, well, just give it to them. It's the policy. That's Domino's policy. All Domino's generally should do that, unless they've changed it since I worked there, which it was a while ago now, so they very well may have. I think it was about 10 years ago now I worked at Domino's. But anyways, I'm getting off topic. But the point of the matter is that the Philadelphia Police Department did their own investigation, came to the same conclusion that the Philadelphia Flyers did as well. Nothing happened. Or they have no evidence to support the claims that something happened, which in a roundabout way means nothing happened. So, as I said in my last video, I'm actually pretty proud of myself. I pulled pretty good, guys. I'm pretty stoked about this. I called this. Did I not say this? I said I said you're gonna find out. It's gonna be nothing. I said, because as I said, and Shannon made a video, and Shannon's News of the Day video, the Hockey Guys News of the Day video, he basically said a lot of the same stuff that I did in my video. There are chaperones, there are handlers, there are people there at those events that make sure that the mascots don't get involved in like this with a kid, and that a kid doesn't do something to the mascot. Because those suits, those mascot costumes, cost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Those are not cheap. The last thing you need is some kid ripping something or pissing on it or puking on it, or, I mean, look, if a kid gets sick and throws up on it, I mean, whatever, that happens. You can't blame the kid for that. Shit just happens. But, you know, if a kid gets grabby and rips something or pulls something off or something like that, I mean, that can cost hundreds of dollars to fix. Or if it's even fixable. And if it's not, then you have to replace that entire suit. And I guarantee you, the one that I had was not to the quality of what Gritty wears. The one that I had cost $5,000. I've looked up mascots. We were trying to get a mascot suit for my high school. This was like 15 years ago. We were trying to get a mascot suit for my high school. Just as we were, me and one of the kids, I wanted to be the mascot, and the head of the athletic program said, well, hey, he goes, we'll crunch some numbers, bring me in some prices, and maybe I can send it to the school board and we'll see what we can do. So I was like, all right, cool. So I did some research. I was looking at, like, of course, I was like 14 at the time, so I was looking at really high quality ones. These suits go for a minimum of $10,000. 10, 15, 20 grand. These things cost as much as a fucking car. Do you really think that they're not going to have someone there to make sure that the suit and the person wearing it is safe? It's a lot of money tied up in that. That's 10 grand for the suit, plus whatever you're paying the person. And if they get injured on the job, then you have workman's comp, insurance, severance pay, all kinds of crazy shit. So it opens up a whole box of worms, or a whole can of worms. So, as I said in my previous video, as I thought, this sounded fishy. It was fishy. It was not factual. It didn't happen. I'm not going to go so far as to say that Gritty's innocent, because he's done some pretty funky shit. You never know. And, like, yes, Gritty gets a little more aggressive with fans than other ones do. Not aggressive in a violent way, but he's much more touchy-feely. Like, he'll hug you and he'll come up and he'll get right in your face, and, you know, and the local baseball team back home where I'm from in Vermont, Champ, the guy that I used to work with, I know the guy who played him was this crazy ex-Australian rugby player. The guy was built like a linebacker and is athletic as fuck. He used to do backflips and shit, all kinds. Like, he was a great mascot. Phenomenally awesome guy. So fun to be around. I learned so much from him. But I used to go and do Champ's birthday party, where he was the mascot of the team, but they'd have a special day for his birthday party, and they'd have all bunch of corporate ones too. Like, they had Hannaford's, which is like, you know, which would be like a Wegmans or a Kroger's or a Publix, depending on where you're at. We had the Hannaford he was like a cow thing, and then there was the bunch of restaurants were there. Like, I think what was it? We didn't have Sarku. It was one of those Japanese grills, a hibachi grill, but I don't remember what it was called. And I know the two big ones that was Kodo's. Kodo's Japanese Steakhouse was the name of the place. They had this like little panda dude that was like their mascot. But there's a bunch of different corporate mascots. We all go around, blah, 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 whatever. But I had kids come up and grab it on my stuff, and my dad was my handler. And they'd shoo kids away. Or they'd like be like, hey, hold on. You gotta wait right here. You know, wait your turn. Because you know how kids are, especially little kids. They don't know. They just say, oh, hey, I want to run up and hug you. And I had plenty of kids doing that. And I didn't mind. But, you know, Champ, what he would do is he was a like a dinosaur looking thing. Kind of looked like Reptar, Yoshi, or like a big green dinosaur, had an open mouth, right? And he'd go up and he'd grab kids and he'd stick their head in the mouth, and he'd do this kind of thing. And kids, they giggled, they thought it was fun, and he would do stuff like that. And Gritty does things like that. He gets close to you. He gets in your bubble. He's just, like I said, he's a touchy-feely mascot. And honestly, I think that's how kind of mascots should be. Not like in an aggressive way, but don't be 10 feet away from the fans. Get down on the ground and get right up close and look them right in the face. You know, mess up their hair. I used to do that all the time. I'd rub the kid on the head or whatever, you know. And I'd give them hugs and everything. And, you know, just, like, that's what you do. And if you don't like a mascot being that way, then don't go hang around with that team. Like, has this guy seen any videos of Gritty and the antics that he gets up to? Maybe that's why he did it, because he thought that, well, geez, they portray Gritty as a crackhead. He probably would do something like that, which is like, no. There's a fine line between being a psycho, like a ha-ha, funny, sarcastic kind of psycho, because the character of Gritty is a psychopath. He's completely insane. And that's why we love him. Because he's completely insane. He's a psycho. He's psychotic. And it's amazing and funny and hilarious and great. And I think that Gritty is the greatest mascot in the history of professional sports. And this is coming from somebody who despises the Flyers. I don't like the Flyers. I like the Ice Flyers, not the Philadelphia Flyers. As you all know, I'm a Penguins fan, so I'm not a very big fan of the Philadelphia Flyers. I do, however, think that they have the greatest mascot in the history of professional sports. At least North American professional sports, I would argue. And I would argue worldwide professional sports. Because I don't know how big mascots are in other countries, but they're big here. They're big in Canada and they're big in the United States. But yeah. Anyways, but that's just my 2 cents, just to follow up on the whole thing. Like, you know, basically just reiterating everything I said in the last video. Saying, I told you so. I mean, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but beep beep. Because I feel good that I called it. I don't like making predictions and calling things like that, because I don't want to look like a fool when I'm wrong, which is why I try to do the most, back up the research and use the most logic I can. But like I said in the last video, as a parent, stuff just wasn't adding up. It just didn't make sense. Why would you take your kid to a chiropractor? Was it a chiropractor, or was it not an ornithologist and a bone doctor or whatever? Which I guess chiropractor technically is a joint doctor, but you know. But as I said, if your kid gets punched in the back, first of all, chances are if your kid gets punched in the back, they're not going to be that seriously injured unless they were hit very, very hard by someone much, much larger than them. Which in this case would have been the case because it was an adult inside of a Gritty suit. But even then, as somebody who knows how to fight, who's done martial arts and boxing, you don't punch someone in the back. If you're gonna hit somebody, you want to do the most damage. So if you hit someone in the back, chances are your back's gonna take the brunt of that, and you have so many muscles in there that they're gonna absorb that hit, and you're probably gonna have some bruises and sore muscles, but that's about it. You're not gonna break somebody's back by punching them in the spine. Unless it's a weird freak thing, and like I said, unless there's a serious difference in size between the two combatants. But you take them to their doctor, just the regular doctor. And and then the doctor will look at them and say, oh, well, this looks like it could be serious, it's out of my knowledge, you should take them to a chiropractor. And I feel like if that was the case, if the guy was telling his story, and what his story was factual, which we know now that's not the case, you would think that he would have said, well, we took him to the primary care doctor, and the doctor had suggested we go to the chiropractor, and then we took him to the chiropractor and found out that he had a back bruise. Also, as I said, it's a back bruise. It's a bruised muscle. Chiropractors don't do anything for that. Primary care doctors don't do anything for that. Maybe some muscle relaxants if it's severe enough. But they're just going to say, take some Tylenol and rest your back. And I know this because I've pulled every single muscle in the base of my neck to the base of my tailbone. Twice. In the space of 6 weeks as a child. I've ripped and torn every muscle in my back twice. And it took me 4 months to recover from that. But I also know that there was nothing the doctors could do for me. They said, take some Tylenol if it hurts. Like, we can give you some muscle relaxants, but we don't know how much it's going to actually help. And they basically just said, go easy. Rest. Don't do anything strenuous. Don't lift anything heavy. Don't move too quickly. Don't rotate in your waist a whole lot. Just rest. That's what you do for a back injury. Especially if it's a minor back injury like that. You just rest. There's nothing you can do. Honestly, if that had happened to my kid, and somebody punched him in the back, and I had looked at it and it looked like a bruise, and I took him to the doctor, and the doctor said, well, it didn't look like anything serious, then I may not even take him. I may not take Gideon if that happened. My wife Katie would probably make me, because we all know how she is. Love that woman to death. She is the apple of my eye and the heart of my soul. But she's stubborn. But I love her. But anyways, got a little off topic, but that's it for me, guys. I'm the Cranky Yankee. This is my follow-up to the Gritty situation. I'm glad to hear that nothing happened. I'm very happy to know that I'm right. I like being right. As a married man, I'm not right very often, so every now and then I get a win. It feels good. But I'm just glad to know that my theory on it was correct, you know? I mean, there was a lot of stuff that just didn't add up, and it just didn't make sense. It just didn't make sense. But that's it for me, guys. Let me know what you think in the bottom. Let me know down in the comment section what you thought, whether you thought from the start, like I did, that this was all a bunch of bullshit, and it sounded like it was all made up, you know? And, you know, do you think, like, shame on this dad, right? Like, do you think that it's really an issue? Because I think there's some underlying issues if this dad's doing something like this. Like, I would never, ever, ever exploit my son for anything. I had the VP of the Ice Flyers come into my work the other day. Those of you who are in the SPHL Discord, I mentioned this a few days ago, but I had him come in, and I see him every now and then, and we always shoot the shit. We're big hockey fans. I mean, he's the vice president of a professional hockey team. He used to work for the Rapid City Rush in South Dakota, which was really cool. We sat and shot the shit. The guy offered to give me free tickets, and I said no, because I'm dumb, because I have principles, and I'm like, no, I don't want to go see the Flyers for free. I want to pay and support my team because I love that team. They are my favorite team in the world. Above the Pittsburgh Penguins. Yes, that's right. My Pensacola Ice Flyers are number one in my heart for hockey teams. And it's very recent number one, but I love that team more than anything. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to be like, oh, I got the hookup, I got to go see them for free. No, I'm not that kind of person. And my wife and Katie looked at me and she was like, why? You're a dumbass. Why didn't you take free tickets? I'm like, no, because I'm not a beggar. I don't do that. It's not against my principle. And maybe I'm unique in that. But I don't want anything from anyone in my life. I want to pay for myself. I want to earn my shit. If I go to a hockey game with my wife, it's because I can afford it. It feels good making that money and being able to spend my own money and taking my family to go to a hockey game and not getting it there in a handout. And it's not that I'm against handouts. I'm the kind of person where, like, if you're going to give me something, just give it to me. Don't ask me if I want it because I'm going to say no. Just say, here you go. This is for you. You can't refuse. I'm not accepting it back. Don't tell me no. This is yours. Take it. And I will very sheepishly, embarrassingly, and reluctantly accept. Because I'm stubborn, and I have pride. And that may be a bad thing, but I have pride. And I pride myself on the fact that when I go and take my family to see a hockey game, it's because I've saved money and earned it. And it's a treat for us, because we only go maybe a handful of times a year. So we don't go every week like we wish we could. But it makes it special. And I really feel like this dad in this situation probably took something that was probably at the time really special to his son, especially if his son's a big hockey fan. Maybe he had a blast, and now that whole memory is marred because his dad had to make some big deal because his dad didn't like the fucking pictures that he got with his son. Unless the son didn't like the pictures and started complaining, and if that's the case, it sounds like you have a spoiled, rotten little child, and maybe you need to put him in timeout. But it's already 20 minutes. This has been too long. I'm the Cranky Yankee. Give me your comments in the section. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what other kind of videos you want to hear about. If you guys ever, for those of you who follow me on Twitter, if you guys ever want to hear my 2 cents on anything, send me a DM or mark me in a message. Or if you see an article or something hockey related, just tag me in it on Twitter if you're friends with me. You know, I don't know, Candriff, I don't know if I have you on Twitter. I believe, if I remember correctly, my Twitter, if you aren't friends with me, is CrankyYankee88. Basically, it's my YouTube name on here. Take off the duh. It's all one word. CrankyYankee88. I believe is my Twitter. I'm quite sure that that's what my Twitter name is. It's going to say the Cranky Yankee as like the name, but the little @ is CrankyYankee88. So if you haven't followed me on Twitter, follow me on there. If you guys have any ideas or anything you want to see, send me stuff there. I'm on Twitter all the time. Because I was trying to think, I don't have a Discord server. I'd like to have a place where I can have everybody's stuff all collective in one thing. I really need to make a Discord server. And if any of you know how to do that and want to make me one, that'd be awesome, because I have no idea how to do it. But if you guys want to, that's great. It's awesome. I would love that. It'd be awesome. It'd be phenomenal. But that's it for me, guys. I'm the Crank Yankee. I love you all. Have a wonderful day. Today is Monday, so I didn't watch the Super Bowl last night. Any of you that watched it, I hope you had fun. I hope the team you root for won. I think it was Kansas City, which is awesome for them. That's cool. I didn't really care either way. I didn't like either. Well, not that I didn't like either team, but neither of them were my team, so I just kind of was indifferent to whoever won. I was just like, as long as they have fun, I'm happy. But yeah, that's it for me, guys. Have a great day, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.